Bucks have pushed the Heat to the brink of elimination, taking a 3-0 lead in the series. No team in NBA history has ever given up a 3-0 series lead. So it's not looking good for the Miami Heat. Once again, Milwaukee wins in a blowout, 113-84, with 6 players scoring in double digits. The Bucks made 48.3% of their shots compared to 37.6% made by the Heat. They will compete in Game 4 on Saturday with the chance to sweep. This has been brutal.
Yeah.
But, I was talking this morning to Miami, and here's the deal. Like, a lot of people are calling the Heat bubble frauds. That's, like, the fun thing to say.
Oh.
And, that's a nonsense thing to say. Like, if they're bubble frauds, then the Lakers are bubble fraud champions. Like, they're fraudulent champions.
Although the Lakers are pretty good right now.
Lakers are good, but the Lakers made improvements to their squad in the offseason. And the Heat obviously did not do that. The Bucks also made improvements to their squad. They have Drew Holiday and PJ Tucker.
Yeah.
Like, they deserve credit for that. That's taken a massive amount of pressure off of Chris Middleton and Giannis, for that matter.
They're better, no question.
They're better defensively. And the Heat have been struggling. Tyler Hero's averaging 7.7 points in this series. That's not enough. That's not enough points.
I'm not going to say they're a fraud. I think what's happened is this is kind of who they are. Last year, suddenly, we elevated Bam Adebayo to a star, and it's like, no, he got worked by AD. He's getting worked by Giannis. He's a good player. I'd like to have him on my team. I think we elevated people. We overvalued a little bit of beyond Butler, who's very good.
Right.
He's not having good. Jimmy Butler's a really good player. We started overvaluing everybody, and it's like, no, they got Duncan Robinson can shoot. That's about it. Bam Adebayo's a nice 15-point-a-game guy. Whenever he plays good bigs, that's about what he gives you, 14, 15. That's it.
Like, the bubble was what it was.
That's right.
Like, you had Giannis, who's a back-to-back MVP.
Somebody had to win.
They should have won. The Heat played well, and they won.
That's right.
They got to the NBA Finals. They took the Lakers to 6 games, and this is a new season. So, you can talk about what happened in the bubble. Like, everyone else had the fair opportunity to win in the bubble, and they didn't. So that was last year. This is a new year. They're new teams. We very rarely see people run it back. What the Bucks are doing is really unprecedented, bringing back all of their starters. Like, in any sport, you're going to have turnover, and you're going to make changes or improvements.
Yeah.
So, look, the Heat have to take their L. Like, I very much believe you can brag and pound on your chest when you do well, and when you lose, you got to take the L. Like, you got to be self-aware.
Big L. Yeah.
I don't want to hear about fans leaving the stands, though. Come on. Like, they pulled that last week with the Warriors, like Warriors fans leaving early. Fans leave early. Nobody likes sitting in traffic after watching their team lose.
You have a little edge to you this morning, Joe.
Yeah, well, I'm irritated. The Nuggets jumped to a 2-1 series lead over the Blazers thanks to a huge performance by Austin Rivers last night.
Yeah.
This was a fun game. Scored 21 points with 16 in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
He also made a team-high 5 3-pointers, and after, he said it felt really good to have this performance, especially after sitting at home waiting for a team to give him a chance earlier this season. And this is a fun part of the playoffs when you have a player pop and contribute in a big way.
He was on the couch.
Things up. He was on the couch, yes, absolutely. He was traded from the Knicks to the Thunder, then the Thunder waived him. He signed with the Nuggets after Jamal Murray got injured. But he played a massive role for them last night. And Damian was on fire, as he usually is, 37 points. CJ McCollum had 22 points, so they needed this. And it opened things up for Jokic, so they couldn't double-team Jokic anymore because they got to keep somebody on Austin Rivers.
Portland needs a reboot. I feel like I've seen the same team for about 6 years. I feel like, let's go get him a legitimate number 2 star. Like, they're so Dame-centric. It's nothing against it. It's just Portland needs... It's okay, they've been good. But they peaked a couple years ago when they got the conference finals. It's like, it's reboot time. Let's get... Clippers go get swept. Paul George is on the market. Paul's a better 2 than a 1.
The Blazers feel a little bit like the Heat, a little bit like the Raptors, where you have a good coach, you have a good system, you have a good culture, you have a good fan base, you have a strong front office, you make improvements, you tinker with the roster every single year, but when you look at what the bigger brands and the bigger teams are doing, bringing in stars. And that's just kind of what it feels like. That's why the Raptors were able to win that championship, because they were just right there. But what do you need? Kawhi Leonard. Now you have a championship.
Yep.
So that's kind of how it feels with these teams. They're very competitive. They're great during the regular season. And then you get to the playoffs and you get up against, likely the MVP. And this is what happens.
Yeah.
All right. Tim Tebow. Day after Trevor Lawrence said Tim Tebow has looked great at practice.
Great.
The quarterback turned tight end is trying to prove he deserves a spot on the Jags roster. And he caught every pass thrown his way on Thursday, Colin. That included 2 that went for touchdowns.
You can see he's added about 15 pounds of bulk. I mean, he's big. Tim's big now.
Listen, the bod is on point. That's what we know is going to.
Yeah, he's always in great. But
we know that's what's going to be.
Tim has bulked up. I mean, you look at him right now. That is a tight end body. Whether or not he makes it,
he's going to have defensive. If he makes it, he's going to have NFL defensive ends coming for his head. Linebackers ready to blow him off his stance. So he went for 2 touchdowns, one from Lawrence and one from Gardner Minshew, but he did not drop a pass all practice.
Well, it is you're playing air, so let's not. I mean, again, I want to be very fair on Tebow. I don't like being marginalized, but not dropping a pass for any other tight end in the league would not be a story.
No.
That's what you say about your 8-year-old son. Jackson went to practice today. He did not drop a single pass.
Here's the thing about this story, because you're right. Nobody talks about not dropping passes in practice. Now, if you look awful in OTAs, then that's a story. But you're supposed to catch every pass. There's no one guarding you.
Yeah.
There's no chance anyone's going to hit you. You should catch every pass. That's the bare minimum of what you should do. With Tebow, anytime you're critical, you're hating.
Yes.
But I don't know. Me personally, I would feel embarrassed if I was in this situation.
It does feel a little bit like they're taking care of Timmy. They want to make sure Timmy doesn't get injured by the press. Like, it's just, let's stop reporting that Timmy caught every pass against air. Like, it's beneath Tim Tebow.
Is it?
I don't know. I just feel like, okay, Tim is...
I mean, he's not reporting this.
He's
not responsible for this. But he's a star, and he is polarizing, and people want to know what's going on with him in practice.
So if he's a star, you don't report that he caught every practice against air.
Well, he's a star. Ball. I mean, he's obviously very famous, but he's also infamous. Yeah. So this is why they're reporting on this. Like to your point, any other tight end, you're not going to be like, oh, Travis Kelce caught every ball in practice. Like,
yeah,
it's a slow news day? Like, who cares? Of course.
Interesting. I thought that segment was very fair, very balanced.
I don't know. You get mad at me if you want to. I've got enough problems with the Heat.
Enjoy with the news.
Well, that's the news.
That's obnoxious. But in the winter, if I just take a picture of the sunset, which anybody could take a picture of, it is a reminder to a company I used to work for in the middle of a blizzard. Uncle Colin made the right call. That's a reminder. I can be obnoxious. Tom Brady is hosting OTAs this week without the coaches. He wanted to do that in New England. They wouldn't let him. Tom Brady has made sure everybody in the world sees that Bruce Arians is allowing him to take Antonio Brown, Gronk, Mike Evans, anybody that wants to show up, Blaine Gabbert, players only OTAs. They can use the facilities, weight room, field. Bruce Arians says no coaches because Brady hates OTAs. It is not a flex by Brady here. It is a reminder. Just posting pictures on Instagram of the beautiful sunset to people who didn't understand you had that option instead of blizzards. Belichick would never allow this. Tom's not flexing. Tom's not, lined up with a Super Bowl trophy in his hand. He's not showing you the rings in his room. He's not doing the standings. It's not a flex. It's a reminder by Tom Brady that all you had to do was occasionally, 2-3 times a year, say, hey, Tom, good job. Occasionally hit on a wide receiver in the draft. Let me control the OTAs with players and not have to go through coaching in meaningless OTAs as I've been the best quarterback in the league for the last 7 to 8 to 9 to 10 to 20 years. Big difference. That's not a flex. Tom at the OTAs is a reminder. Had the Patriots just been a little less rigid, they would not have a losing record. They would not be inferior in their own division to Buffalo. They would not have any chance to beat Kansas City. This little sunset picture. It's nice here, not nice where you're at. Joy with the news.
No. Turn on the news.